like I said, they were born. They had fathers. Noah's father was Zeus or something like that, was it not? Whatever, they have mythological stories. They're the creations of man's mind.
What about the mind? What about the mind?
The creator is not the creation of man. In fact, it's the opposite. We are the creation.
Is it worse than that? It's the creator of somebody that lived 1400 years. It's even worse than even the creator of your mind.
Because
it's the creator of somebody that lived 1400 years ago.
Before that 1400 years ago, or before even the first human being, there was the universe. There was Earth, there was other planets, there was dark matter, there was all these other things. Human beings hadn't even come on the Earth, yeah? So, before human beings have come here, yeah, before they could create any gods in their mind, who created the universe that didn't have human beings at that time? Who or what, yeah? Who caused the Big Bang? What caused this? I've asked you. Before human, so wherever you are,
subscribe to science
or the intelligence behind that, wherever the intelligence behind that thing was,
you got to subscribe to science. You got to subscribe to science.
We can use the scientific method because you
can't.
I said you got to subscribe
to science. It's either or. You can't have the Koran and science.
Exactly, it contradicts each other.
It's either science or the Koran.
This is what I used to think. You see, I used to think.
It always will.
You can't have the Koran and science.
Actually, I used to believe this, that science and religion are contradictions, because I was a cultural Christian before.
You can't have both.
Christian, I never follow religion or anything, but we hear these stories that we can't comprehend, make no rational sense. So I just tarred all religions with the same brush and said, that's what it is. I didn't know. One of the things that brought me closer to Islam was actually when it started talking about embryology, using specific
words. It gets it wrong. It's all wrong.
Show me the science of Adam and Eve. Show me the science.
Yeah, embryology. Okay, one thing we have now, when it talks about the mountains, you already run away from the argument, and this guy took over for you.
Where's the science with jinn?
No. You haven't got past the questions. You haven't got past the questions.
You just find questions one after another. I've asked you questions. You haven't answered none of them, except for we don't know. So you haven't given an answer except for you.
That's honest. That's honest. That's a scientific position.
And I've said to you.
That is a scientific position. We don't know. We're waiting for the answer from you. We're still waiting for the answer.
So Allah says that mountains were placed on the earth as plates. Yeah?
Which is ridiculous. Do you know anything about geology?
One second. So now they've used tectonics and they've seen through this technology that mountains go down into the earth, sometimes more than what they are above the earth. So they have roots.
You're going off of scientific data or?
Yes, but this is something where I've looked at the Quran and I've seen very eloquent statements. Very eloquent statements.
It's not.
You can deny it.
It's
you
both.
don't have to accept.
I've read it. Listen, I've read that book inside out. You can't.
Very eloquent. And when you look up science,
stop embarrassing yourself.
They didn't have proof 1500 years ago.
Listen, there is no science in the Quran. That would be ridiculous.
However, now, okay, another thing is that all living beings, all living organisms come from water. Scientists now today say that water-based, all living things come from water-based organisms.
Salt water and fresh water mixes nicely. Beautiful. There's no departure.
This is where science is actually catching up to it, because you have all these different sciences and different parts of science, embryology, biology, physics, astrology, all these different things. Now, in the last 100 years or so much of what's in the Quran has been proved correct. Whereas before they wouldn't have had the knowledge. Then you've got mathematical genius, mathematical miracles and all these other things. But I'm just trying to say to you, I used to think science and religion didn't go together. But listen to what Einstein said about science and God. And actually, what I realized is science has come from God. Everything comes from God in creation. And what you find is with the Quran and Islam, is science is still catching up.
I would argue that two things. I would say that one, could science and could the Quran be wrong? That's one. And then two, you said that everything comes from God, science comes from God. I would argue that science comes from man and the Quran comes from man. I'd say the only thing that comes from, if they're, God or creator, is nature.
I mean, science, when you understand science here, as well as, from what I understand, the science is like the method, scientific method. So it's a way of measuring things that can be measured. Yeah, and then we can, so basically it comes with a theory.
But who sets
and then they try to find the ways of measuring it and to support and then going from that evidence they can either say, yes, this confirms what we thought or believe, or we can reject it. But there's not everything that it can't explain everything. You know, it can explain what can be measured. And as
but who designs this yardstick, this measurement?
The scientific method
Yes,
has been developed from men, by men.
exactly.
What they're measuring, they're studying all these things in creation, hasn't been designed by men. In fact, we haven't designed or created ourselves.
So how could we measure them?
In our own mind.
So how could we measure it?
In our own mind.
How can we measure something we haven't designed?
How can we measure something we haven't designed?
Yeah.
Very easily.
Pardon?
Okay,
So how do you measure the mind?
we didn't design this tree over there, but we can measure how tall it is. We can measure how long it's been there.
But you see,
Measure, you know, certain things about it.
we can't measure it because one, we create an ideology, yeah, a structure which we then call maybe something like a measurement. It doesn't mean that it is a measurement.
I know what you said. We can go into this kind of way of thinking, but we'll never get nowhere. We go round about. So we have to go by, you know, our rationality and logic, and go by what is we can establish
As men. Exactly.
Because otherwise we go completely off into.
And then I go back to, can men be wrong? Do men have egos? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Don't you know about the salinity of the water? Your brother needs your help. Ali, he's claiming that this Koran.
We've done that.
No, hold on.
He doesn't want to
Hold on. Ali, I need you to tell him. Wait. Ali, I need you to tell him. Stop saying Ali like you shut up. I need you to tell him that there is no science in the Quran. Tell him. Listen. Look. We don't use science to show that Quran because science changes every 2 seconds. Science changes. How can we? Ali, can you tell your friend? Can you tell your friend there is no science in the Quran? Can you tell him? Let me be clear. What they see there is none. No. Stop embarrassing. No. Listen. No, but hear me out. Listen. Let me tell you. What I'm saying is that we can't use science because science is limited and it changes. How can we use that to prove the Quran? Now, we can't say, for example, Allah says in the Quran, does that mean that it mix? We can say, look, science has found out in this ocean that happened. I'm not going to come and say my favorite Ali. But we can demonstrably disprove that ridiculous claim because salt water and fresh water do mix. I'm saying, even if that's the case, it doesn't prove nothing to us. I will show you. The guy's killing me. No, listen, I don't know if that's the case. It can mix. Let's suppose it does. Would that show you that science will work? And if it doesn't, but science changes. They might come next week and say it doesn't. You get it? That's the problem with science. We've shown tens of thousands of times that salt water and fresh water. It's not talking about Richard Dawkins did. The boundaries.
In Isaiah, in the Bible. Know that.
Where are they mixing? Who done that? Who done that?
The claim is.
Allahu Akbar. Who done that? Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. Who done that? Why you just said they don't mix? They're not mixing.
That is just
I see a million hits.
the element.
They're not mixing. He said sort work.
No, don't mix.
Just be creative like that. There's something up and up.
They're not mixing. That's 2 seas where they train. Fresh water and salt water. 2 seas, yeah. And the last season of the stop embarrassing yourself.
You never live, you don't know what the United States is like.
There's a better.
Hold on, you don't know what the United States is like.
Where is He's saying it because of the Quranic verses. He's saying he's more objective. Because he hasn't got external knowledge. He has no external knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So this argument I think is enough for you to show that the Quran is very precise when it comes to that statement, more precise than the biblical discourse.
Well, I'm not a Christian, so I don't know.
Yeah, so that's what basically, so the biblical discourse is what we found. The Quranic discourse
So are you with some of your Muslim colleagues here that come and say that the Quran is, there's some scientific evidence of the Quran, or do you step away from that like some of the other Muslims do? So I spoke to another gentleman here that we spoke to.
my stance on it is that science is not perfect. If we look at physics and biology and all of this, the branches of science, that not everything is perfect about science, and there have been what you call scientific revolutions. So we shouldn't have science as a kind of measuring stick that tells us how true or false a religion is. But I do believe that science is a very strong method, scientific method is a very strong method, and that there are some rudimentary scientific facts that we can't really deny. Things like the shape of the earth, the water cycle, some rudimentary
Being of the cosmos, etc.
accepted. Yeah. So you think
Evolution, although you've got
What shape is that? It's round. As in like round or a sphere? A sphere.
Don't you get started. He believes in
Okay.
that. Don't get started.
Do you think?
Of course.